We were the only ones in the mainstream that actually began to open up such critical commentary in the op-ed page. There were letters written to me about disappearances in the provinces, about priests who were under pressure by the military in their areas. These were not covered on television. People didn't know what was going on outside.
Panahon yun parang it could only be Marcos or the communists.
After 1981, martial law was lifted on paper. And yet, everybody knew that if anybody wanted you picked up, you could still be arrested and detained without any kind of explanation, without any warrants. That was still happening.
Wala kang karapatang magreklamo, wala kang karapatang kumalma.
When he was killed, people finally saw for themselves how great a threat this was to everyone. You could be one of the politicians and yet you could be shot in cold blood.
Yung mga araw na yun ng EDSA kasi parang yun ang culmination ng transformation ko para sa akin. Kasi early in my college years, I was actually a loyalist. Naniniwala ko dati na hindi si Marcos ang responsable sa pagpatay kay Ninoy kasi why would he do such a stupid thing? Ang tagal ka pala naloko.
The Philippines was in the news because of everything that was happening. It was the first people power event that was covered on television as widely as CNN did.
You look at EDSA as a time when Filipinos were able to do the impossible. The guy was stuck there for what, more than 2 decades and we booted him out. Nagawa natin yun. Kung kaya pala natin, that's something to celebrate.
Ano yung tingin ninyong nangyari doon sa photo na yan?
What's himself, Marcos?
Nag-uusap sa EDSA, ma'am.
No thinking.
Hindi namin nakikilala.
Much of our collective memory, to be honest, is very short-term. Pag tinignan mo EDSA ngayon, hindi mo na ma-associate ang EDSA. Ma-associate mo ang EDSA sa lahat ng kamalian ng pamahalaan. Traffic, bribery, corruption. No, lahat ng mali nakikita natin sa EDSA. So paano mo makikita ngayon ang kahalagahan ng nangyari noon kung mismong yung lugar hindi mo na na-associate doon? One of the most powerful things that they have done in Europe after the war was to create memorials. Do we have spaces like that? Spaces of remembering? Wala eh. Yung kung saan nangyari ang mga bagay-bagay, those should remind us. When you think of EDSA, that doesn't give us that memory anymore.
Dapat po ba natin gunitain yung people power?
Yun na. Gunitain yun. Karaan na yun eh. Tapos na yun eh. Hindi pinag-uusapan yan sa bahay.
We can't forget that.
Walang nangyari. It's just the same.
Ang dami nagreklamo, ano ba, nagbago magmula ng EDSA. Ang dami hindi natupad na pangako ng EDSA. Yung EDSA naman, ang pangako naman ng EDSA paltan si Marcos. EDSA merely gave us a second chance. Whether we made well with that second chance or not is our problem.
Yung 1986 People Power Revolution was a high water mark for our society. Remember, nasadlak sa dusa, if you will, ang Pilipinas because of the martial law. And 1986 was in many ways a religious moment because it was seen as a moment of redemption from the fraudulent elections, from everything that was wrong about our period at that time. Kaya, nung mula 1986 hanggang mga early 1990s, talagang mataas ang expectation that things will change. There are many things that moment, People Power 1, promised to change that did not really happen. As basic as agrarian reform, as basic as the eradication of corruption. Bakit hanggang ngayon laganap ang political dynasties? Put this all together, meron kang massive disillusionment about that religious moment that was the People Power Revolution.
Hindi tama yung ginagawa ng gobyerno or like the people, for example, Bong Marcos, na we can't simply forget about the families who were lost and forgotten.
EDSA is when people gather around, people make something happen and make a difference in the country.
Madaling sisihin ng mga kabataan. No, tamad, hindi nila alam ang kanilang kasaysayan, hindi sila nagbabasa, madaling maniniwala sa social media. All these are symptomatic of what sociologists call moral panic, na parang saan na patungo ang lipunan natin. Yun yung mga kanilang mga katanungan. The truth is, these young people and the way they see things are a product of their own time. At produkto rin ito ng kakulangan, in fact, ng nakaraang henerasyon. So in as much as we want to hold these young people responsible, the young people can also hold the older generations responsible. Just because they did not undergo the martial law period does not mean that they don't know anything about it. The fact that they are talking about what could have really happened, the fact that they are asking these questions means that we have an opportunity to answer and to respond. The responsibility is on educators, on parents, on the adults to engage them very well without judging them.
Working out democracy means a learning capacity that goes with it. And that's still the message of people power.
Pag tinignan natin ng curriculum ngayon, makikita na pag pinag-aaralan yung iba't ibang mga pangulo, lagi pag-uusapan is ano yung mga na-achieve nila. Tapos yung martial law, pahapyaw. Tapos, what would make it more complex or more problematic is when the teacher herself or himself does not know what he or she is talking about in the classroom. Biglang sasabihin na, noong panahon ni Marcos, ikalawa ang Pilipinas after Japan, and so on and so forth, perpetuating what was really a mistaken view of that particular period. Marami sa mga kabataan ngayon, hindi na pag-uusapan yung realidad doon. If we are to be honest about our society, bring back not just the good things, but also the worst part of that period. Unfortunately, ang mga tao, willing sila pag-usapan yung mabuti at hindi na pag-usapan yung mga masama. Ano tawag nila doon? Moving on. I say that is irresponsible.
Ang media, yun ang system of continuing education. And that's why we should examine ourselves in the media. Having this freedom, winning it through people power, and getting it after 1986, have we, in the media, faced up to that responsibility as well? I don't think we've done very well. Because if you ask people, they don't know about it. They don't know about the things that are going on. Some of us are perfectly satisfied with just reporting. Hindi natin sinasabi, ano ngayon ang ibig sabihin niyan para sa atin? Kung hindi natin iabot dun sa tanong na yun, wala ang papupuntahan.
A lot of people don't seem to realize the benefits that they enjoy now because they never had the problems that we encountered before. Now, ang daling bumakbak, ang daling humirit, ang daling yumari, ang yabang-yabang ng marami, hindi nila kayang gawin yan dati. The right to complain, to hit, to insult their leaders, that did not come about because Marcos gave that to them. We had to fight for that.
Freedom by itself is a challenge. And what do you do with your freedom? What do you do with an open political space? The quickness of the change, I think, did not give a chance for Filipinos to actually think about the responsibilities of the burden of people power. You really need to be afraid if you fail at the responsibility of being free. Democracy is one of the most difficult systems of government, but there is no one better in order to raise a human community that is truly free. Nung nangyari yung EDSA, everyone cheered the Philippines. People power in the Philippines triggered off a whole wave of democratization around the world.
If they can appreciate what we did, how come we can't?
It was not people power that failed. Just our elections that failed. We failed in the selection and the choosing of our leaders.
We elect people who make things happen, or at least give the impression that they make things happen. Kaya umuusbong ang tinatawag na populismo or populism.
We have had to go through political factionalism where we can't even talk to one another anymore without the kind of animosity and hostility that prevents any kind of exchange. Without that exchange, democracy does not work. Walang demokrasya kung hindi kayo makakapag-usap-usap. Because democracy is conversation.
One of the reasons umabot tayo sa panahon na ito na tila maganda yung panahon na yon. At ngayon meron na tayong parang speedy sense of justice na parang sige na, tirahin na yan. No? Andun na tayo kasi nga naging mabagal ang lahat. Wala rin pag-unawa na may katarungan sa lipunan. Kung meron tayong sense of justice against criminals, today, drug addicts for example, we should have a strong sense of justice against people who stole money from our people. Whether it happened yesterday or in the previous decades, the point is that they stole money and we have to hold them accountable. And if they're not being held accountable today, people will hijack the public sphere and they will say, it's time to move on. In effect, saying, wala na tayong magagawa dun eh.
What you need to look at is our ability to mount an EDSA. And that is something that we should appreciate. More than the people who benefited from it.
I think the one learning is that we didn't do enough after EDSA. We could not continue afterwards to say, oh, saan tayo pupunta pagkatapos nito? We cannot be a democracy so lululunin lang natin lahat ng sinasabi ng kung sino. Kailangan pag-iisipan mo, kailangan mayroon kang mga tanong, kailangan hahanapan mo ng kung anong sagot. Walang madaling solusyon sa kahit na anong problema. And democracy demonstrates, in fact, that if you engage everyone else, then you will find those solutions, but it can never be a quick one. We cannot be a democracy kung mangmang tayo